Beginning to wonder what was more exceptional when Stephen Ross sat down with Joe Philbin across the table and said, "Oh, that's my man," after listening to the Joe, or was he more excited when he heard Mike McDaniel say things like that? Mike, how would you face your team after a small, short, hopefully losing streak? He says like that, and Stephen Ross says, "This is the guy. Get the contract." Big contracts.
The time.
Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
Very pleasant good morning, everybody. Welcome to a Peel Yourself Off the Mat Monday edition of the Defo Show. That is Mike Lubie Lubitz, Papa Lubie, as we call him right now. And is young Luca part of the scene today again? Very nice.
Yes.
How do you stash a baby on the show? How do you do this?
Behaving vastly better. We'll cross our fingers.
I think he's got a little bit of your chemistry in him, and he's likely to create havoc during these shows at some point in time. And in fact, he may even want to take over at some stage. All right. Where do we begin here, Libby? Of course, the Miami Dolphins beat the Buffalo Bills yesterday. That happened here in town. For those of you watching around the country, we have a tendency to zero in on the local teams. It was a disaster. I don't know how many hours of pregame show radio time I logged in my many years of doing local radio here. It was over 40 years. I would say of the 40, probably a minimum of 35 of them involved some form of Dolphin and Hurricane pregame show. Mostly Dolphins, though, and it was always amazing to try and fill 4 hours before a game. 4 hours of talking about a 3-hour game. Which, if you do the math on that, it's a lot of yapping about nothing because you don't know what's going to happen in the game. Do we ever know what's going to happen, Libby? What do you think? I mean,
obviously no, because I would not have picked the Dolphins to beat the Bills, and they were dominant.
This thing had 2-8 written all over it, didn't it? 2-8, another disappointing loss. So, was it the genius of Stephen Ross, the timing of the Chris Greer dismissal? I'm listening to some pregame radio yesterday. There were 2 stations carrying pregame shows. It was always kind of interesting that the station that didn't have the game, in this case, it's WQAM, because I believe the games are they not broadcast on 940, our former station? Didn't the Dolphins come back there at some point?
940, and I think I'm Big. Man, they're both on Big 105.
Oh, Big 105. That was always the issue, is that these pro teams wanted to be on the FM band. In fact, that's how the Miami Heat ended up walking. I remember when I first got back into our final stop there on the radio tour, which was 940 Wins. I had been working in Radio Purgatory for a couple of years. The Steve Lapination, may he rest in peace. Dumbest smart guy I ever met in my life when it came to radio. He really was. He really was innovative, knew what he was doing. He liked me enough to hire me several times, although it was usually out of desperation on both sides. And I remember thinking, hey, I just went from a station that's about to go under to one that carries the Dolphins and the Miami Heat. And remember, I had to run down there when the Heats signed LeBron James. They called us in like that was the first day. I was thinking, how nice is this? The shift was 10 to 12 in the a.m. So a nice little midday shift, finally out of morning drive radio, thinking I'm going to be making the same money or more than I was at the previous stop for doing 2 hours a day where I don't have to get up in the morning anymore. And on top of that, the station has the rights to the Miami Dolphins and the Miami Heat, the 2 teams that you would want to have in town at the time. The Panthers were in the throes of that miserable long period of sub-mediocrity.
Yep.
And the Marlins always are nothing. So that was unfortunate. I mean, even when they give rise to hope like they did last year, what's really going to happen? I'm looking at this list of free agents in Major League Baseball that was put out by John Heyman today, and he's rating all the possibilities of where they might end up and how much money they might make. And it's always interesting to speculate on this sort of thing because you're thinking what teams are going to prosper in the offseason. And it's usually what? Dodgers, Yankees, Mets get involved in this sort of thing. But of all of these guys, these premier free agents, is there even a single one that would be a target, an object of the desires of the Miami Marlins? That answer would be no. So anyway, I'm moving to 940 Wins. I meet up with, I don't even know. Yeah, I guess I just met you, Mike. And And I get a call from the program director. You got to head down to the Miami Arena right now. I'm thinking, what the hell are you talking? And that's when the Heat held that silly party for LeBron James signing, when they got Bosh and LeBron James and Dwayne Wade, and they had the three of them there. And that was, of course, where the famous statement was made: not one, not two, not three, not four.
Yeah.
Can you embarrass yourself any further than LeBron did on that particular occasion? Even though they got to 4 finals and won 2 championships, so he wasn't that far off, was he? Could have won 7. Could they have won 7 if he was here? I don't think so.
Wow. But look, they may have won another one. I don't know how many more than that. Were getting old, and they showed that they could build around Jimmy Butler. So then why couldn't they have built around LeBron? Him leaving was annoying, but he ended up winning both in Cleveland and in LA. So I guess it wasn't the end of the world for him.
Well, I said this all along because people were talking about there were some people that thought it was a mistake to bring in LeBron James. There's always some writer in town that tells you that, like, unfortunately, this was Greg Cody, and it'll never be forgotten, that Scott Mitchell was a better option than Dan Marino. Scott Mitchell. Once you're on record with something like that, see, now if you're on the radio or TV, people forget. They rarely are going to go back and check what you said. The logger tapes were always conveniently burned before anybody had a chance to listen to them. That was the thing that kept a record of everything that was ever said. But just in case somebody was going to sue you, tapes? What tapes? It was like the Nixon tapes. They're gone. And rarely, I mean, do people really go back and find clips on TV? Yeah, I guess occasionally they do, where somebody says something really stupid or that turns out to be completely inaccurate. And people go back and say, hey, you see what you said there 7 years ago? But there were people that thought that maybe that wasn't going to work out. And I had maintained forever, any roster that LeBron James is on immediately becomes a contender. Even the Lakers, right? He's not even playing, and they're a contender.
Yeah, I guess.
It's pretty much true, isn't it?
I mean,
even at this stage of his career, maybe less so now. But the Heat used a loophole. Remember that? We're like, I go down there to cover this thing, and I remember being on with Mike Inglis, and I believe John Crotty was the color analyst on the radio at that time. And we're trying to fill like 4 hours before anything happened. And finally they came out there and they had the whole big ceremony. Eric Reed was the MC. And 2 days later, the Heat exercised some loophole where if they were not given the same consideration by the cluster of radio stations, in this case, iHeartMedia, the iHeart people had capitulated to the Dolphins' demand to be on FM, which is good because you don't want to hear this snap, crackle, and pop of AM radio necessarily. And 940 wins, especially at night, had a particularly atrocious signal. How did we survive those 7 to 10 at night? That was about, 6-8 months of that when we were on 7 to 10 at night when we were doing the remotes at Porky's?
The signal in Miami was decent, and for some reason it would pop in and out of the islands. So we would just have fun and not really think about it. We didn't really do that.
The bulk of our audience was from Broward County. I don't know why I always felt that.
Yes, our morning show did vastly better in Broward than Miami, but our night show couldn't be heard in Broward.
Foreign language in Miami.
You couldn't be heard in Broward, so it did better in Miami just because that's all that we got.
So it was always a consideration. The Dolphins had pushed for this forever, that they wanted to be on an FM channel. So they put them on Big 105, which has a booming signal and high ratings and seems to do very well. It's been hanging in there for a long time. And then the Heat used this loophole that said that if they weren't given the same consideration. Now, can you imagine putting Miami Heat basketball games on the radio on a big FM station? That had nothing to do with sports. It's not like, I guess QAM now has 104.3. So they converted to having an FM signal, which I still keep forgetting about, Lubie. And I don't turn on the radio that often anymore. And it's not out of bitterness or spite. I found, like I did yesterday, and I'm hoping we're not guilty of this. And to a certain extent, I guess you have to be. There's a commonality to all sports talk type of themes. And what's the central theme that we've been exploring when it comes to football here in town forever? 2 things. Are the Miami Dolphins ever going to be good again? And what's wrong with them? And number 2 is the crystal ball factor, which I don't know. Did it rear its ugly head again? Because somehow Syracuse managed to cover 28 in a hook by losing by 28.
Yeah.
Can we blame Mario on that? I didn't see enough of the game to have any serious.
The second quarter, the problem is, like you say, Miami's very lucky Cuse didn't have their quarterback because Cuse could do nothing on offense.
No, they had no offense.
there was a lot there to be had. They ever since it was Angelo or Angel, whatever the Steve guy that was actually playing good football got hurt. They've gone into a tank offensively, and Miami took full advantage of that and did what they did for Stanford, and they sort of scored in bunches in the second quarter and got a nice lead. I don't know if it said anything about either team. I think Houston missed their quarterback, and I think Miami is ripe to lose another game. Like that's what
It moved up in the rankings of that win, believe it or not.
Yeah, there was
A win, no cover. Can you really be satisfied? I mean, that's the magic question. I had several people come up to me when I was making my way into what is now known as the Pomp, but formerly, and I had a very interesting evening on Saturday night, meeting and getting to see literally a museum type tribute to one of my all time heroes. Who there's a mixed bag of opinions about the great harness driver Stanley Dancer. I don't know if you're familiar with that name, Stanley Dancer. He was considered among the best ever. May even be. I mean, could he be the best ever harness driver in the history of the game? Possible. I mean, he would have to be mentioned. Stanley Dancer, I think over 3,000 victories, won them all, 3 Hambletonians, Little Brown Jugs. He won just about everything. So, but I'll get into that. That's a social issue that took place on Saturday night, which was kind of interesting. Drone show on Pompano Beach, Lubie. Had you heard of this or ever seen a drone show executed anywhere? Or did they have drone shows out west there? And what are you, officially in Coral Springs?
Yes.
Ever have a drone
I've
show?
never seen drone shows. It's easy to imagine it being a thing. I've never heard of it.
Oh, it would have been great. I mean, it was kind of like fireworks, a scientific fireworks show. Except the weirdness of it was, I was driving home around the time that the crowd would have been assembling, and people were searching for parking, and they were parking a fairly good distance away from the beach. You were going to have to schlep to get to the beach, the pier area where this was taking place. And I'm wondering what the hell is going on, because I knew I was going to a friend of mine's house where we were going to watch this thing from the beach, and it was in conjunction with a little barbecue, and all of his neighbors were going to be there, all the people in the building, and I'm watching this assemblage of people parking as far away. You know where that 26-degree brewery is?
Yes.
You've been
Across from Foundry. Yep.
People were paying for parking there to walk to the beach, which meant you had to go over.
Oh, for this drone show?
Yeah, drone show was going to get underway at like 7:00.
Oh my God!
5:30. People were already assembling there, and then they were like, when they have fireworks on July 4th out there by the beach, there are always a zillion boats lined up, and you're thinking, wow, that's cool. You get the boat out there, and unfortunately, you got to take it back and clean it up afterwards after a half-hour fireworks show. But this show only lasted 14 minutes, Lubie, and that was it.
What?
It was great for the time it was on, but 14 minutes. Imagine schlepping all the way from Margate or something. Tamarack.
Oh my God, are you serious?
Parking, schlepping all this stuff to the beach, and then the thing goes for 14 minutes, and you're like, God bless America. That's it.
That's such a joke. Oh my God.
But it was there that I met a woman that lives in the building.
Yeah.
Happened to be the former wife of Stanley Dancer, who checked out several years ago.
Okay.
So she liked the fact that I knew stuff about him because I'd done some interviews with Stanley Dancer when he was in attendance at Pompano Park, and we were shooting a lot of horse racing videos. And I always felt like I was talking to like Mickey Mantle in terms of harness racing royalty. And this woman had an unbelievable tribute to the guy, like in her play. She showed me it was amazing. So that was a lot of fun. But the drone show itself was a total ripoff. I mean, if you schlepped all the way there and paid $20 to park, then walked over the bridge, by the time you dried the sweat off your brow, the show was already over. As pleasant of an evening as it was. But all that being said, so guys are coming up to me at the Pomp there, where I had met Stanley Dancer, and I got the same question. Can the Canes cover 28 and a hook?
I mean, they should have. They started blowing them out in the second quarter. I thought I stopped watching because they had pulled away to the point where I thought even there was nothing to be left in question. That's funny that they crystal balled and still didn't cover.
They didn't cover by a hook. That's amazing. That hook. 4 touchdowns you're getting. It wasn't enough.
That's funny.
So now you're getting the hook, and that turned out to be the deciding factor in the ball game for the people that were betting against the point spread. But I told him one guy, I said, I see 35-3 here is your final. So go ahead and lay the 28 in the hook.
So what was it? 35-10? Is that what it was?
Ended up being 38-10.
38-10. Yeah.
38-10.
Oh my God. That's so
what an effing disaster, if you were. Because you had to feel like Syracuse was going to, have great difficulty scoring. I don't know how they got that touchdown. But, and was it late in the game? Was it a backdoor cover? I'm not sure what level of disaster it was for the bettors. But I'm thinking how down to the spread are the Hurricanes this year? What do you think, Lubie? Is it a disaster?
I don't think it's good. I don't think maybe. I guess they covered the Notre Dame game. Did they cover South Florida? They didn't cover Florida.
They covered against South Florida, yes.
They didn't cover.
They were laying 17 in a hook, and they blew them out. I guess we could look at it. Look up their record against the spread. See how they're doing against the spread this year. Anyway, so that was part of the college thing. Now there's talk that Belichick may make a bowl game. Is that possible, Lubie?
I don't know. They've started winning games versus bad teams. I'll give them credit that FSU can't do that.
Indiana, they barely survived this game. They're really the number 2 team in the country. If you had Fernando Mendoza as the Heisman Trophy winner, are you feeling comfortable about that? He does lead a dramatic drive at the end of the ball game, the kind of Heisman stuff that stands out. But what a catch by this kid who with you guys. There you go. So, yeah, a lot of interesting stuff all the way around the board. But let's get back into what we were talking about here, the Dolphin game. Stroke of genius, no? Stephen Ross is timing impeccable. He knows the team is floundering. He fires Chris Greer. They respond. Did Daniel lose the team? Is that a fair statement? No, not after what we saw in this ball game.
No, he sadly has not lost the team, actually. I think he will be losing his job because
I really think he's getting fired at the end of this year. I don't believe
not fire him. I think it's utterly ridiculous. I think it's. Then you should have just kept I wanted to get rid of Greer, but because you were also getting rid of McDaniel, you can't to try and get a real GM and be like, but you have to have this coach. GMs are going to want their own guy. If you, the GMs that actually know what they're doing want their coach, and they're going to probably want their own quarterback. That's why the Tua thing is probably on one more year, because after next year, the guarantee money I think is done. To try and force, it's what happened before. It's why Greer had a shot, because they wanted McDaniel, and GMs don't want to get tied to someone else's coach. To keep McDaniel is one of the dumbest things you could do. But again, I know it's the Dolphins and it's Stephen Ross, so it's not out of the realm possibility. That's the problem with keeping guys like this. All you're doing is letting them try and save their job when there's no need to save the job. It's year 4. You know Mike McDaniel is. He's not winning you Super Bowl. He's not winning you a playoff game. No. So to keep Mike McDaniel, to me, is just a total waste of time. Again, you're on the wrong guy. I'm dealing with my 2 favorite football teams have the exact same problem, and they're handling the exact same way. And I think it's moronic. I think once you know what guy's done, look, they beat the Bills. It was impressive. They'll lose next week to some stupid-ass team. They're going to play the Commanders in Madrid. They're a favorite. They're going to lose to the Commanders. So what then? Oh, now we fight. No, Norvell beat Wake Forest 42-7. He still deserved 6. You're flirting with a 6-win season in year 6. You're flirting with, for the Dolphins, a 5-win season in year 4. Because it's a total waste of time what they're doing. He hasn't lost a team. I give him credit. They're fighting for him. But where were they? Where were they versus the Panthers? Where were they versus earlier in the season? If they were really fighting for him, the way we keep hearing them fighting for him, I think they're fighting for their jobs, and it's a little too late.
Is it week to week in the NFL? The Panthers a couple of weeks. I thought the Panthers were a good bet, laying 5 and a hook. They end up losing outright. Unbelievable. Jacksonville with a choke job yesterday. It's week to week. Indianapolis, the Colts, after losing the week before, have to go to overtime to beat an Atlanta team that's looked completely inept. The Baltimore Ravens beat Minnesota 27-19. The Ravens are now 4-5. Many people think they're going to win the division. Who's on top of that division? Pittsburgh, and they lost last night.
Oh, they're a disaster.
No, is Aaron Rodgers toast or what?
Well,
you only saw a game of Aaron Rodgers. Would you not think that was like a banged-up Johnny Unitas coming in
Yeah, well, he looks
San
like
Diego Chargers, and you're looking at Joe Willie sitting on a Rams helmet. Then you look like a shot fighter.
the guy we saw with the Jets. I mean, that's sort of where he is.
He was better with the Jets than he was in this game.
Got out to a nice start, but they're coming back to the pack. I mean, Rodgers is old. There's not much there
He looked
offensively.
lost.
They adding Metcalf was a nice move, but I don't know. It feels like the clock is ticking for Mike Tomlin, and Aaron Rodgers should have hung it up like 2 years ago.
I think the attention span, just to address something on the chat line here, Jim Sarney weighing in, and he said that everybody in his building, which he lives right there by the pier, so they probably didn't have to leave the building, which I think was an asset in their enjoyment.
Yeah, look,
I'm talking about the poor schmuck that schlepped from Tamarack with his whole family and got 15 minutes of entertainment and then
100%.
out the door.
That would be my issue. Look, again, if it was free, that's cool, but you have to drive to the beach. You have to park, which is ridiculous. Then there's food, and they're going to food. Like, all that for the thing to be 14. And I get it. They only have 15-minute battery life, so I guess people knew what they were getting. Maybe there was music.
Wouldn't you think they'd have another set or something ready to go?
That's what I'm saying. It's like, do another event, do a few different things. Have planes, too. I don't know, but 14 minutes.
Fireworks, something.
It's fine if you live close. I'm not mad at you, but if I got kids, then I'm pitching it as a beach day that so happens to have.
You would have had to have been there all day. Yes.
Yeah, like it's got to be a beach day. Oh, look, drones. Like that's because for 14 minutes, that's asinine. That's
isn't it? Yeah. I was amazed when it was over, and it was great while it was happening. You're looking at this, going, "Wow, that's fantastic! They could do this with these drones." Because every now and then you see the occasional drone flying around, or some guy's got a drone and he's using his remote to make it do various things, or you see a drone that's taking aerial shots, kind of cool. But and what they were able to do with this stuff was amazing. But Jesus, 14 minutes after all of that, I think I would have been thoroughly pissed off. I don't know about you, Lubie, unless you knew in advance. Okay, this is going to be quick. I've had sex last longer than that show.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's been a while, I guess.
Saying a lot, yeah. Been a while, yeah. Honey, you got a second? All right, so what are we going to do? Let's come to some conclusive stuff here. Or is there any conclusion to be had about the Dolphins' victory over the Buffalo Bills? They hadn't beaten the Bills, I guess, 7 straight losses, something like that. 2 is I got. Does he have a win over the Bills? They beat the Bills in a playoff game. It seems like it had to be years ago. No, when was the last time that they haven't won a playoff game? No,
they play. Remember when they were bad, and that year that they screwed of had the 1 or 2 seed and won the division. They lost like 4 of the last 5 games, limped into the playoffs, played the Bills, and then ended up playing the Bills weirdly really well, pushed the Bills, and then lost. Remember, Tua was hurt, and you had like Skylar Thompson or something in there, and it was horrible, but somehow they were in it, and they just lost at the end as Thompson played like the best game he played in weeks at that point. They still lost, though. Like, they did not
win. I mean, how could I even mention that the Dolphins beat
they haven't won a playoff game since 2000.
They haven't won a playoff game in 25 effing years. Unbelievable.
Yes.
Thank you to all of the inept GMs that have been in place there with the Miami Dolphins for putting together rosters that can't get out of their own way. So now people, what? Will they be crying, Lubie, that this was a mistake, that they should have just continued to lose the rest of the way? 3-7 now. The Jets, who had been 0-7, now are 2-7 after winning 2 in a row. Kind of a surprise there. I couldn't have been any more wrong about that ball game because I'm thinking the Jets just lost their 2 best defensive players. How are they going to beat the Cleveland Browns, who have shown occasional signs of life? The Cleveland Browns, but the Browns managed to screw that thing up. Well, what did the Jets have? Like a kickoff return, punt return? They had just about everything going.
Yeah, it seems like it.
And still somehow managed to hang on and win. So the bottom dwellers were successful. You can't. I'm one that resents playing for a higher draft pick. I know it makes sense in certain situations.
Look,
but it tears at the very fiber of my sporting soul.
Oh, and the problem is, if you look at the recent drafts, the guys seems to have sucked for, haven't really bared out. Like Trevor Lawrence was supposedly the greatest prospect since Andrew Luck. what has he done? Trevor Lawrence had major issues, and he got a big contract, and people defend him, but they lost another game that they had a huge lead.
Oh,
They
that
had a
was
huge lead,
brutal, man.
like in the fourth quarter versus a struggling Texans team. Like, what is that? That was freaking weird. They give up 26 unanswered points in the fourth quarter. Like,
They were cruising in
like,
that game. I had that one already in the bag. I had Jack.
you should have.
In my personal bookmaking venture.
You should have had it done.
Nothing, wasn't it? It was ridiculous. The same thing with the Giants. Wow. I mean, Brian Daboll, he's on the hot seat again today. I mean, the ink is flaming on the pages of the Giants Review in the New York Post because they're up 20-10 with 4 minutes to go and end up losing 24-20. So that was ugly. Jackson Dart goes out with a concussion. A double whammy there for the New York Giants, who surprisingly are very optimistic, considering that their team has such a poor record. But many people are thinking, "Oh, well, we found our quarterback." I don't know.
The quarterback. They love Cam Scatterbo because he's heart and hustle guy, even though his numbers are okay. And defensively, they have a lot of talent in the defensive line, which you can definitely build around. I don't know. I mean, again, I don't. Jackson Dart's a rookie that didn't even start from the beginning of the year, and now he already has a concussion, so we'll see. But like the tanking for quarterback thing hasn't bared out. I mean, when you look at all these quarterbacks that have been drafted high, most of them aren't good until another team. A lot of them aren't good at all ever. So, and again, this is another draft where I don't like any of the quarterback. Fernando Mendoza is a late first, early second round quarterback, and that's fine. He may start in the NFL and may be good at some point. I'm not drafting him top 5.
How comfortable do you feel if you took like 3-1 on him to win the Heisman?
I mean, he may win the Heisman. Indiana, they shouldn't lose a game. And I get it. They struggle with a bad Penn State team, so anything's possible. But I know they're probably going to lose. Their schedule is super cake. And with that, he's the key cog in them winning. So he's probably going to run away with the Heisman at this point. Sayan has a good shot because Ohio State's clearly the best team in the country. So he is a quarterback of the best team. But Jeremiah Smith's going to put up numbers, so he would take away like attention. He had a big day this weekend, so he would take away attention from saying, that's my thing with the Dolphins winning is annoying because you should still get a top 5 pick. Like, you've been horrible. You should get a top 5 pick. But I've said all year, I don't care if they have number 2 or number 5. Like, they need a really good offensive lineman. They need defensive line help. They need a playmaking linebacker. They need a playmaking safety. All those things exist in the top 10. So to me, as long as they're in the top 5, they should have their pick of, because 2 of these teams are going to take Mendoza and the Dante Moore kid. They're gonna, like, as stupid as it is, they're going to. So let them do that. You should have your pick of one of the top positions they need. Like, and then if you want to draft a quarterback in the second round, that's fine. So them winning, look, and again, I hate the Bills. So if you can screw with the Bills, it's annoying to help the Patriots, but if you can screw the Bills, like, that's fine with me. Yeah, my problem is if it gets that 5th or 6th win, and it's like, because you're not making the playoffs, you're not challenging for anything. So like, it's just annoying.
I still subscribe to this, though, Lubie. I believe you should go after every possible victory. I mean, and this is an even bigger issue now in sports with the degenerate gambling that's associated with it, and all of these leagues being in bed. You had another gambling incident, which I guess had surfaced several months ago with, is it Clase? Is that how you pronounce his name? The Cleveland Guardian pitcher, and a guy named Ortiz. And apparently, I mean, the feds claim this anyway, that there was evidence of very, very sketchy-looking bank transactions where either one or both of the players were withdrawing substantial amounts of money. What would be substantial for most people, like 50 grand, and giving it to various gamblers to place proposition bets on whether or not a pitch was going to be a ball or a strike. And or the velocity of the pitch. Imagine this: so you're there punching away on your app. People must be doing this for there to be enough money generated by it to have it be in play all the time. And apparently, Clase was tipping people about whether or not he was going to throw a ball or a strike. I guess it would be a lot easier to decide that you were going to throw a ball. You can't guarantee you're going to throw a strike, but you can make sure that the ball's out of the strike zone. Well, you know what would be interesting? A guy's got a bunch of money riding on this. Think about this, Louis, the tenuous nature of what these guys are doing, risking their career in the process to make. How much money could they make that would be worthwhile to go ahead and lose your career over it? What a lousy relief pitcher in Major League Baseball is still making several $million a year.
Yeah. And teams reuse guys all like you have to really be bad for a really long time for teams to not give you another shot. Like someone's going to give you, if you're an arm, someone's going to give you a chance.
You see this all the time, though, where some guy's got a 5.29 ERA. He's got the Oxana bio blood alcohol level as his run average, has a losing record, has never really been all that effective. And then some team signs him for $3 million.
Yes.
For 1 season. And you're like, what? That guy's making $3 million. And now I know guys are making 30, 40, 50, and where we'll see $60 million ball players. But, or do we have that already? How many years is Otani's $750 million contract?
It was
10 years?
Wow. They're always 10. They always give these stupid ass contracts for 10 years.
10 years, yeah.
Ever
since, you would have thought they would have learned with Albert Pujols, who was good for about a year and a half.
Exactly. He was good for like a year. And then like,
Carlos, same thing. I mean, it was great, but 10-year contract. Has he really measured up to it? Even though he's had some big hits for the Yankees, but not consistently enough to be worth even $30 million a year. Unbelievable. But I mean, is it just a thrill of victory, Lubie, of winning money? I mean, easy money. I say this all the time to people. You're sitting with people that they're filthy rich, that they need the money like a hole in the head. But they'd rather win $1,200 gambling than have somebody hand them $12,000 right there at the bar as part of some business deal, because it's just the thrill of winning money in that fashion. How much? But anyway, this guy supposedly was withdrawing substantial amounts of money and then passing it on to, I guess, people who were betting for him, and also passing this information on to other people in some form of betting syndicate. And he was tipping them off that, okay, I'm going to open up the third inning with a pitch out of the strike zone. Now, if somebody swings at it, go ahead. What were you going to say?
So we talked about this last week. Like, these guys make so much money that we thought there's no way it would touch professional sports.
Who the hell would risk your career over that?
One, you're right, the competitive thing. Two, I guess it's like, if I can make extra money, and how would they know? Why not do it? But it's just like, I don't know. You're talking to the wrong guy. Like, I'm very risk averse and things like this. Like, it's like you work a job, so you're going to steal $100 from the tip.
Hold on. There you are.
Yeah, sorry. You work a job, you're going to steal $100 from the cash register at a job that pays you $2,000 a week. Like that,
right.
It doesn't make sense. So that's why people don't. That's why you don't usually have to worry about your workers stealing, because they're going to lose a job that pays them a lot more than if you stole $5,000. You're going to, over the course of a few months, make that money. So like, why risk? And then now you can't get another. Like,
it makes sense if it's some bad boy that's got this information. But,
but like the players, I just don't get it. Like, look, Jonte Porter, he was literally 10-day dude that was probably never getting another contract. Fine.
But he was making $750,000 even on the minimum in the NBA.
I still wouldn't have done it, but okay, maybe he's like, look, let me protect myself and I can go play overseas. I don't know. But these guys, like a relief pitcher, you make money, man, and they give you opportunity after opportunity. Like I just don't get a lot of. Look, that's why I wasn't worried about the gambling.
So anyway, I mean, how would you not be able to track this? Where all of a sudden $400,000 came in on the idea that this guy's first pitch in the third inning was going to be a ball. Who's taking that action? I don't know how much you could get down on something. It's kind of like when we had the inside information from footy there at the Super Bowl that Katy Perry's first song was going to be "Roar" at the halftime show. And you can bet on this kind of crap. But, I mean, when I went to the window there at Caesar's Palace, the guy looked at me like I was from Mars. What are you kidding me? You think we're going to take that? Get out of here. What, you just talked to John Footy Cross? Happened to be at the rehearsal, and we all know that the song's going to be Roar. I mean, that's betting. That's worse than betting on things that are voted on. In this case, it was solid inside information. But the maximum that you could get down on it was $100.
Exactly. They're like, look, we know this is wrought with a lot of weird crap. Screw it. You can make your bet. You can win your cheated bet, but we're not letting you go all in. Like,
yeah, who could make enough bets to make that worthwhile?
No one. That's the thing. All you're doing is
what are you calling the jungles of Costa Rica? You got some guy who's got bullets crisscrossed on his chest like Pancho Villa. Yeah, man, we take it.
Yeah, it's just going to be suspicious. Like, that's all that's going to be.
You would think, I mean, if you're on the other end of the phone there, or whatever computer generated transaction, aren't you suspicious? Wait a minute, this guy's betting $50,000 that the first pitch of the third inning is going to be a ball.
Well,
You gotta
obviously.
be kidding me.
I mean, it's just
No,
raw
no one,
with-
it doesn't arouse any suspicion that there's something up here, and then it turns out to be right.
and
There's
you
nobody
start
on
to
the
ask-
opposite side.
the problem with it's a double-edged sword. The prop bets are the easiest thing to rig, and it's clear
Yeah.
that players are trying to do it. People associated with sports are trying to do it. It's just so easy.
Sure.
It's like, how would you know? There's so many pitches in one at bat, let alone an inning, let alone a game. Like, but the problem is that's also where they're making their money. The prop bets are where all these kids and 20-somethings are just throwing dollars away day by day by day. So again, these companies have become very powerful. It's hard. I said this last week. It's hard for me to believe that they're going to get rid of their cash cow. That's the problem. It's a very
Who would?
You've
You got to
opened-
be crazy.
you've opened up Pandora's box, and getting it closed is almost impossible.
These two guys, it always sounds weird. I mean, they're facing 65 years apiece in prison. I can't imagine that this was going to draw that kind of penalty, but nonetheless, you would have to imagine that their baseball careers are over. I mean, if they kick Pete Rose out of the game, you're not going to have these guys that were. And look, they're innocent until proven guilty. Well, we don't know that they did this. Is it possible? I mean, is the FBI on some kind of weird witch hunt where they're taking obscure ball players that you don't even know that much about and just kicking them out of the game
No.
by tarnishing their reputation with these assertions and allegations that are completely unfounded? You would have to think that they have some kind of follow the money. That's always the way, right? Out of all the president's
Yes.
men, right? Just follow the money, and it's too traceable, isn't it, Lubie? These guys aren't very careful at covering their tracks. If here's somebody that's got communication going with people that are sending in this kind of action, and he's withdrawing money and giving it to them to bet for himself.
I mean, again, to have to go through those machinations to get this done, it's wrong.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Don't do it.
It's insane, Shohei.
Again,
How can you believe that your interpreter was the lone criminal suspect in this case?
I mean, he wasn't. We know Tani was clearly involved, and it is what it is. He's the biggest star in the game. He's the guy that makes people who don't watch baseball still watch baseball. They're going to protect him, just like we've seen with athletes for years. Like, while they're the star, they get a lot of look. Jordan got amazing treatment for years. People to this day still don't know why he was playing minor league baseball. Like, Michael Jordan was allowing himself to look like utter garbage playing minor league baseball. Like, come on. Like, the whole thing to this day is weird. Like, the whole thing.
Stern denied it to his grave.
The fact that there was an investigative report. But that's what I'm saying. Like, you would think.
Said it had nothing to do with it. It was a preposterous.
And they took it. They took whatever Stern said. And then, okay, David, like, come on. Like, anyone else, they would have been investigative reports. And they would have done, Jeremy Schaap. They would have done a whole thing. But it was Jordan, so everyone just took like for you.
Oh, okay, Michael. Yeah, that had nothing to do with that money you owed Chico Escuela there on those golf pits.
Like athletes forever. Ty Cobb was a scumbag, but he got away with it because he was great. Like we've known forever. Pete Rose just started they knew Pete Rose was doing crazy crap like that his whole life. He was Pete Rose.
That wasn't even the craziest stuff he was doing. I mean, how about those 14-year-olds?
Exactly.
Cast aspersions at Pete because I sort of liked him, but as abrasive and cranky as he could be, but wow! And yesterday too, this still stayed with me. I was sitting there at Brew's room, and this woman that was sitting next to me started talking to me, and somehow it got around to the fact that I had this affiliation with the Dolphins for many years, and she went out of her way to say that she thought that Dan Marino was a complete prick. And I'm a big Danny supporter. I know
he's been great.
He could have rubbed people the wrong way, but I justify a lot of it by the level of annoyance and nuisance that he had to suffer, where he really couldn't go take a piss without 20 people asking him for an autograph
for years. Even well after his career was over, we would watch him get hounded by people.
Doesn't he seem to have mellowed some? I mean, you've run into him a few times.
People leave him alone now. Like people, oh my God, Dan, but they're not hounding him. But like I remember. We would see him out, and he would move 3 steps, and people. And this was years after he had retired. So I've learned getting the minimal attention we get. That okay, I can see why people who are famous can come off as jerks because this
'Cause
wasn't the
they
first
just
time.
want to diffract everybody and
Bingo.
keep them away, right?
At some point, you want to just be able to have a meal with your family,
Yeah.
like, and breathe.
Yeah, you just want to be able to walk outside, without being Henry Hill. Oh, those helicopters? What are you kidding me?
Exactly.
Like it was a drone show. I think Sarni had a piece of this drone show. He's
We love the drone show. Which is
heavily trying to justify this 14-minute robbery.
fine. He's allowed to love the drone
He's
show.
saying that the people that go to these shows know it's only going to be 14 minutes. If I knew that was 14 minutes, I'm not parking at the 26-degree brewery there, schlepping over the bridge
That's a walk. Like, to go from 26 degrees and you have to go to the beach
all the way to
that's
the
a
pier.
decent
Yeah.
walk. Like, that's a decent
You
walk.
got to be kidding me, man. It's a walk of life right there.
Exactly.
And you're paying like a premium to park there. Unloading the kids, and you got the beach chairs and all of this crap. You got to be kidding me, man. 14 minutes is not enough time. They should have had a second and a third drone show lined up. No? At least make it a half hour. All right, here we are. That's all we have to complain about today is the length of the drone show on the beach, which was great. I mean, how these people do this, I don't know. Is that computer generated, Lubie? What's the deal on that?
No, it's people doing it. People
Man,
are really good at it.
these guys should be coordinating the Miami Dolphins offense.
Yeah.
No, I mean, if they could have put that thing together, that was fantastic. All right, so the Dolphins win. That leaves us where? Was it Chris Greer all the time? It was Barzini all along. Is that the way that we look at this thing? His departure alone, was that enough to inspire the team to play a really good ball game and save the job of Mike McDaniel, which you would consider to be an outright catastrophe? He somehow saves his job.
Oh no! If he's back next year, it's an utter miss. Like,
Did we whiff on Mike Vrabel? I was dead wrong about Mike Vrabel.
I mean, so far, like, I don't know what moves they made, but they went from being one of the bad teams in the league to
They won 4 games last year.
best. They're one of the best. I mean, they have the best record in the AFC right now, I think. So
That was no slouch victory yesterday over the
no, they
Bucks.
beat the Bucks, who are good. Like,
Bucks were one of the great stories through the early portion of the season. Baker Mayfield was playing at an MVP level. The Rams are good. I mean, I'm going to say this. Sean McVay can get away with wearing those pants that McDaniel wears and not look stupid. Is it just because he's winning? Is that the reason, Lubie? How come McVay looks like a solid, top-notch coach while wearing those silly, goofy pants that McDaniel wears? And yet we ridicule McDaniel for his appearance on the sideline, and yet Sean McVay just appears to be the epitome of every glass-eating, Jackie Sherrill type of motivating coach that you could possibly come across. What do you think? How does McVay get away with it? Just because he's winning games? And Matthew Stafford looked great. I mean, I thought he was finished, this guy, 37 years
well, he
old.
was hurt. He was hurt. The elbow thing, I guess, lingered. I mean, McVay doesn't look mealy-mouthed and doesn't wear weird clothes.
He wears those pants, though.
He might wear the pants, but he doesn't. When he wins, two, he's been to and then won another Super Bowl. He's been the guy who has had other coaches go on to have success under him. And he when he talks, there's authority behind him. He doesn't sound
He knows what's going on. Yeah.
McDaniel. Like,
Well,
like,
if
I don't
you
know what he just said.
the moon was lined up. Get out of here, Mike. What the hell? Mike Vrabel, though, so far he's the real Mike. We probably should have made a move on him. No, it appears that he can really coach. And Drake May's playing some really good football for the New England Patriots. Who, what are they now? Are they 7-2?
I think they're 8-2. Now they're 8-2.
Oh. That's pretty impressive. They've doubled their win total, and they still have 7 games left in its.
I guess they're tied. Sorry, they're tied with Indianapolis and Denver for the best record in the AFC. That's what we all saw going into this season.
Denver appears to be a bit of a fugazi contender.
Well, their offense is just like the Bo Nix. All the people that were like, yeah, that's the guy that was at Auburn. He's still the guy that was like
he's doing nothing. I mean, they're winning with
as a quarterback, but he's not Sean Payton has his like he barely does anything.
I mean, imagine that if you're looking bad with Payton as your coach at the quarterback position, then chances are you are what your record says you are, but not in this case. He might be the guy that you saw as a collegian that you were wondering if he was a stretch being a first-round pick, but playing well enough, I guess, to keep him in games. Their defense, though, has been incredible, the Denver Broncos. So that's the way that's happening. All right, well, we'll get into some definitive conclusions about what's going on in college and pro football. A couple of other things, I guess, were taking place over the weekend, but we do have to go to the obituary column. Paul Tagliabue checking out.
Oh yeah, that's sad.
former NFL commissioner. He made it to, I think he made 86. Did he make
Yeah,
86
made it
or
decent.
84? It's a decent number, but it's not enough for me now, Lubie.
No,
When you're
no.
sitting there at 74 on the board and your number's blinking, you're thinking
That's not worth
84 is not far enough away for me to be satisfied that this guy lived a long and
I guess yes, his 85th birthday was yesterday.
well, he didn't make that.
So he passed just before his 85th
Only
birthday.
a day
I guess
short.
it was 84, almost 85.
Lenny Wilkins checks out.
Yeah,
Lenny Wilkins.
he was another good guy.
Everybody loved Lenny Wilkins. They loved him. A very smooth player. I mean, he was Keith Silk Wilkes before Wilkes. Lenny Wilkins, just smooth as they came. Was a very successful coach as well. Led Seattle to their only ever NBA championship, the Supersonics. Coached the Knicks. Coached a bunch of places. Hawks, right? Wasn't he a Hawks coach for a while? Lenny Wilkins, but well respected by everybody. One of those guys that everybody liked, and a real representative of a distinguished era of NBA basketball. And as they say, he's exuding class at all times, so he will be sorely missed. Lenny Wilkins passing away along with Paul Tagliabue on the sporting obituaries. All right, back with more in a moment. I'm Jeff DeForest. That's Mike Lubitz. Back with more in a moment. Now that.
The time.
8:49.
Hey, folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs, unmatched. Steaks, hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Joe Bees. The bees collect the pollen, bring it to Joe, he packages it, and he gets it to you. It's simple, 100% natural, and it's good for you.
There's only one place to get Joe Bees, and that's from me. Joe B.
If you want to look and feel good, call 877-300-5632.
You can't fake caring. Women can sense this immediately. You don't really care. You didn't really want to do any of this.
We now return to the Defo Show.
All right, kind of an interesting question posed by Jim Sarney here. He's absolutely dominating the chat line here today. Tagliabue's legacy. I think it was that things just prospered while he was. I don't know if it was because of him or maybe him not interfering or doing anything too dramatic, but the league seemed to kind of take shape and really become the monster that it is. I mean, most people would credit Rozelle, his predecessor, and he handed the reins to Tagliabue. You thought that was kind of just sort of a modest transition there. Rozelle was a much more vibrant personality. Tagliabue never really impressed me as being any kind of personality. He seemed to be a guy of decent level of dignity. No, he wasn't perceived as a jerk off like Roger Goodell with a lot of things that he was saying. Maybe he was dealing with different issues, but didn't they kind of endure labor accord? And he went out of his way to get with Gene Upshaw. He had Gene as his puppet with the Players Association, which was always weak under Gene Upshaw and capitulating constantly to whatever the league mandates were. But it seemed like it was harmonious bliss, no? You'll be looking for that in a president of the United States where maybe there wasn't chaos and turmoil every day. That's kind of the way Tagliabue ran the NFL.
Yes.
Is that fair?
That's what I would say. I mean, he's the guy that took the NFL from the second or third most popular league in America to not only the number one, but the number one by a lot. Like, yeah, Goodell took it to a place where they're making billions on 7 different networks, but Tagliabue made it when he was there, not when he left. When he was there, it was the number one sport, and it was the number one sport by a lot. And that wasn't the case when he took over. I mean, Rozelle made football interesting.
Roselle was great. I
Rozelle-
love Pete Roselle, man. I thought he was fantastic.
He was classic, and he made football something from like fledgling to mainstream.
Yes.
But Tagliabue, much like what David Stern did with the NBA, made football, if you don't want to say worldwide, he made it the most prominent thing here.
He kind of fueled the evolution a little bit, without really being one of those commissioners that was overly cumbersome in terms of. I don't know. Goodell making the $60 million seems to be a little offensive. He's inserted himself into the picture also.
Yes.
Whereas Tagliabue seemed to be perfectly content to be a background player. He wasn't the most prominent of commissioners in terms of public recognition, but it did seem like the league made this continued its growth, which Roselle had kind of sparked with television network contracts and things like that. And I don't know were there no strikes? How could that be? Were there no labor strikes while Tagliabue was president or
They had
commissioner?
issues. They had issues.
Could have been. I don't know. I mean, he kept it going. That would be, and he sort of did it without being overly cumbersome in terms of being in a way. You didn't hear a lot about controversies with Paul Tagliabue, whereas you do see a lot of discrepancies with what Roger Goodell is saying and with what's actually happening. Just as those people who lost their fingers in that Kansas City Dolphins game, and the constant flexing of games where you end up having people going to Green Bay to Lambeau Field in the middle of the night in December to accommodate some television obligations. So he didn't seem to sell out the league, but the league was selling out and became a big television entity during his run as commissioner. You would have to say his legacy was that he kind of kept the ball rolling. No,
Yes,
and,
he took.
They did achieve some things while he was in place there that they previously hadn't quite done. So anyway, and Sarney's saying he was late on player safety. That was his own.
The concussions was a thing he missed. He did not get ahead
But a
of
lot
the
of
curve.
commissioners were guilty of that. I mean, Gary
That's
Bettman
my,
could be any worse.
exactly. My thing is, we've always said that I think the whole thing's dumb. Like I think trying to make football safe. Okay, I mean, you want to make it safer, fine. These Fakakta helmets that some of the players are wearing, I hope it's making them safer. I don't care, but I also think it's sort of dumb to you. It's an oxymoron. Safe football. Like,
The game has outgrown any ability to be considered a safe thing to do. Now, look, you could go out there and get hurt playing tennis or any other sport, but not like this in the National Football League, where almost after every play, there's somebody laying on the field. No,
again, you've talked about this. You have 6'4", 250-pound guys that can run 4.5s, and they're running at each other. That's the game. The game is to run at each other. And the guys, you have offensive linemen who are 6'7", 340 and can run 5.40s. Like, what do you think is going to happen? Like, it's just
the game. The evolution of the physicality of human beings has made this game completely unsafe. You would have to say. I don't know that there's any way to administrate total safety into this game. You can do all you want, change the kickoff rule. Are we seeing less injuries on kickoffs as a result of this new Fugazi thing that they're doing, which I still don't understand completely?
I hate it. I think it's stupid. I'm sure they have numbers to back up why they're doing it. I don't know.
Well, you're having less speed buildup before the actual collision takes place with the guy who's carrying a ball, who's clearly as vulnerable as anybody could possibly be at that point. Mm-hmm. And with the rules where you see these ticky-tack holding calls and block in the back type of thing, which is irrelevant to what happens and transpires on the play, but the flag is thrown anyway, very, very tough. I mean, a ball carrier on a kickoff or a punt return is as vulnerable as anybody's going to be in any sport, maybe even more so than boxing, where you have 11 guys bearing down on him. His own teammates can do a little to protect him because if they're even slightly out of the boundaries of the rules, they get a flag and a 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul, which negates how many returns are negated because of some kind of innocuous holding call that took place on the other side of the field.
Almost all the time.
Insane. But when the game and the rules of the game were devised, this was like Gino Capoletti running around the end there, and some guy would grab him by the shoelace and trip him up, and that's how you tackle the guy. You didn't have guys coming at you and spearing you in the chest with their helmet, though, while going full speed. So the way the game has changed and the physicality of the players, I don't think there's any way to administrate football and have it be completely and perfectly safe. You're just not going to see that.
No.
And these pileups, I don't know. I'm amazed nobody's been hurt on the tush push play. Also,
Well, that's the thing is everyone hates it for all these reasons. The injury thing is the one thing they thought would end it. No one's gotten hurt on it, so they haven't been able to use it. Even though it's like, how aren't they? You have all these massive human beings pushing against each other. How is someone not hurting the other person, even by accident?
It's insane. All right, so what do you think? I mean, any conclusions you could come to, Lubie, after 10 weeks of NFL play? You got the final game tonight of this week, Philly versus Green Bay. And
I think that's a big one. I think everyone who wants to just give the Eagles their path, their offense has had major issues this year. I don't think they're the same team they were last year. So I'm very curious about the NFC. The AFC, I don't know what to do with. The Chiefs look like they were coming on. They stumbled this week. They find themselves they're third in their division as the Chargers are starting to put it together a little bit. They pound the Steelers. So I don't know what to do with the AFC. It's hard for me to call the Patriots and the Broncos.
Bills were just rated number one in power rankings in some of the
they lost by double digits to the Dolphins
in the league, not just the AFC, in the league.
You want to keep giving the Chiefs and the Bills are it, and then they have a week where you're like, okay, maybe not. I don't know. I think the Packers are very interesting in the NFC.
See tonight, we'll find out more.
And
about
I think the Lions, I think the Lions and Packers are coming for the Eagles, and that's the storyline to me. Is this may be the year the NFC won the Super Bowl last year, but I felt like the AFC was a better conference. The NFC had the better team. I think it's the opposite this year. I think
no mention of Seattle from you, Lubie.
I don't know what to do with them. They just beat the crap. They won huge yesterday, but
44-22, same score as the Lions.
I don't know what to do with them. I still think I would take the Eagles over them. I like their coach. I like what Darnold's doing. They're back to playing good defense. The Jackson Smith and Jigba has been everything we thought he was coming out of Ohio State. I don't know. It's hard for me to give them. They're very much Patriots to me, where it's like, okay, they're winning and they're winning soundly and they're playing good football, but are we giving them credit yet? Like, are we really picking them to win the conference? It's those two teams. I the most questions about both of them. Like Denver, at least we knew their defense would be good going into the year. Okay, they are playing really good defense. Like the Patriots, to me, it's so hard to read them. And the Colts, Daniel Jones, they do it mostly with running and defense, and there's no reason why they can't keep doing that. But at some point, you have to count on the quarterback, and it's really hard for me, as you know, to count on Daniel Jones. That's why I'm focusing more on the NFC teams. I think the Packers and I think the Lions are very interesting. As much as I don't like Dan Campbell.
You can always count on Dan Campbell to bounce the team back after a loss. I think that they've won 13 straight games after losing. So when they sustain a loss, come back the next week and fire away, Louie. Just open up that bankroll, take the trust fund for Luka Panici-Lubitz and wager it all. Because it does seem like Dan Campbell has a knack for turning things around. Although I guess, the negative would be just when you think that they're going to start rolling again like they did last year, they end up being upset. And so they've thrown in the occasional stinker, maybe more frequently than you would like to imagine. College football, Indiana, was that an exposing job there where Indiana took a last-second miracle play to come out on top? I thought the 20-something points with Penn State was kind of a generous offering, didn't you? That Penn State would not let itself be embarrassed like that?
Well, I mean, they still play good defense. Like, their issues have been offense under the Franklin tenure. And Indiana is still, they've been blowing away teams, but they haven't played anyone. They just don't play anyone. So, the fact that they found a way to win that game when I didn't think that they had that in them, I'm giving them credit for that. We were seeing teams struggle all over the place. Like, the fact that they have found a way to remain undefeated is really all that matters at this point.
All right. I'm a little disappointed in my girl, Aryna Sabalenka, playing brilliantly. I mean, the women's tennis has been just spectacular. They had this tournament in Riyadh, I guess more sports, cleansing or whatever. And they're paying like $5 million to the winner. But the women's tournament was great. It was a round-robin format with all the top players. And then after the round-robin, 3 matches, 2 different divisions of 3 matches, they went into the semifinals. You had the top 4 women all playing in that particular, at that juncture of the tournament. Coco Gauff beaten by Sabalenka. But why does she have to be? It's probably the most. It's such a turnoff. The characteristic of being a sore loser, Lubie.
Yeah, it sucks.
Sore loser. You don't like to see this. Serena was that way. Turned me off. I mean, as great as she was.
I didn't like her. Look, the yelling and screaming in the match, that never bothered me. The treating or mistreating of the opponent is something.
Match is over, and you can't admit that the person. Congratulations. How hard would it be to say that? Then go back in the locker room and tell your coaches that, listen, how did I lose to this woman? She sucks. But to say it outright in the immediate aftermath of a match or at a press conference, it's a very unflattering characteristic, is it not?
100%.
Seems a shame, man. I mean, for somebody that's just hitting howitzers right and left, it's amazing the level. If you go back and watch, I guess this would be true to men also, but you go back, as great as they were, or maybe somebody had a post up, what was the greatest tennis rivalry ever? Could it have been Chris Evert and Martina?
Oh, that's interesting.
A lot of them, but
I would say McEnroe and Borg, but that, I mean, that's
Martina
definitely
and Chris Evert played like 100 times, and
I don't really know that. Yeah, even Borg and McEnroe should have been before my time too. I've seen so much about them that I have a better idea.
McEnroe and Connors was a great rivalry. I mean, we had a
I
lot of
didn't know Everett and
Chris Evert and Martina were one of the great rivalries in all the sports. I thought. I mean, not just tennis, but wow. I mean, you wouldn't see Chris Evert after a match. Even Martina, I don't think she was ever the type, and she wasn't well liked originally when she was playing because she was kind of a monster.
Gruff.
Yeah,
she was gruff. She played like a guy.
Yeah. Running to the net. Attacking all the time, but great. And they had a great round. But when you watch them play, I mean, as great as they were at that time, the match literally looks like it's in slow motion, Lubie, compared to.
Oh yeah, 70s and 80s tennis, 90s tennis that I grew up with looks similar to what you have. The 70s and 80s.
Andrea Jaeger out there with the moon ball. There was a lot of junk going on there that looks nothing like it does today. I mean, these women are cranking it 90-mile-an-hour forehands and huge serves, 120 miles an hour plus. But very unflattering to see somebody number one in the world who plays such great tennis. I know she's lost a lot of finals, heartbreaking stuff, even this year. But the sore loser thing really is, it's such a turnoff, Lubie, huh? Yeah, that's crazy. All right, we're going to get out of here. Had a lot of fun being with you today. Congratulations to the Miami Dolphins on screwing up their chance of getting a high draft pick. But I love seeing the Bills fans leave town face down in the gutter here. They can all go back to the elbow room and help clean up the puke that was left there on Sunday. Imagine being part of the cleanup crew at the elbow room after that Bills disaster. Because the Bill fans come down here and they don't even go to the game. They just go to various watering holes and get drunk.
Exactly.
It must really suck to live in Buffalo. I can't imagine. Didn't Tony Segredo say it was one of the great cities in the world?
He loves Buffalo. Yes. Remember, he's a guy that lives in Vermont 6 months out of the year. In the coldest part of the year.
Known for its intrinsic beauty.
Yeah, but he doesn't mind the cold. So, like, the weather is not a thing he's going to hold against a city. So
Buffalo, I mean, straight up. I don't know a better way to put this, and I'm sorry, A.J. Johnson, to use this kind of language on the Bleacher Brothers platform, but Buffalo's a shithole. I'll leave you with that. And take your fat asses back in your bowling shoes all the way back to town here. Got your ass kicked yesterday by the Miami Dolphins. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks so much for being with us. For Mike Lubie Lubitz, young Luka Lubitz, who was well behaved during the show today. What, was he asleep? Was he out cold the whole time?
The whole show, thank goodness. Finally, the strategy I started last week, which didn't work.
Are you using some kind of knockout drug on this kid?
No. I just make sure that I change him and feed him, and then had time to put him back down before the show started. It didn't work the 3 times I tried last week. It did work today, so we'll see if that can.
I'm beginning to really like this kid. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks so much for being with us. Catch you tomorrow on the next edition of the program. For Mike Lubie Lubitz, I'm Jeff DeForest. See you next time as we leave you now that.
The time.
9:07.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they've done to my soul.